morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. It is Thursdays 13, where we count down 13 things on a list, as well as cover the general news that we've been watching. We haven't been watching that. We just scroll through our news stories and we find some things we want to talk about. We have a lot of variety of news stories today, since it's kind of themeless.
The non-gaslight news.
Yes, we're not going to gaslight you. We're going to tell you exactly what we think. Anyways,
let's start.
Clickbait. This is Before Coffee, the father and daughter comprehensive news of Planet Earth podcast, where we look up our stories 10 to 15 minutes before we've started, and we haven't had any caffeine. You, of course, can drink all the caffeine you want while you listen to us ramble on about all these different topics.
Smoke them if you got them.
Yeah, smoke them if you got them. Let's get into those headlines. Today on Before Coffee, Romania and Bulgaria to fully join the Schengen area in 2025, and LGBT veterans to receive £70,000 for historic mistreatment in armed forces.
And Ocean World Ceres, which is near Mars, is full of organic matter that may support life.
Glasgow drug consumption room could be delayed until early 2025.
And Bob Dylan Blood on the Tracks 50th anniversary concert has been announced. And we're going to look at 13 global condiments.
The war on Christmas is over. Archaeologists think they found the tomb of St. Nicholas.
And it's National Gingerbread Day, so get busy building that gingerbread house on 12/12/24 on Before Coffee.
I used to not be a huge fan of gingerbread, but it's very, 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 very popular here in the Netherlands, so you just have to learn to love it.
And ginger's good for you. It's good for digestion.
Yeah,
it's good for
everything.
Your gut.
Gingerbread is in everything during Christmas time.
Most of those root-derived spices are good for you,
yeah,
strangely enough. Yeah.
And that's why they taste like medicine, because they're good for you.
I like that.
Like a lot of people are like, I don't like root beer. It tastes like medicine. It's like, well, probably because it probably originally was medicine. A lot of sodas were originally supposed to cure all sorts of ailments.
Sassafras, right?
Yeah.
All right. Sassafras, the root there. Sassafras. It's good fun to say. Anyway, yeah.
Let's go cover our first story here, which is a very short, kind of big update from the EU interior ministers. This is on Euroscitiv. After more than a decade of debates, it has been decided today, on December 12th, to lift internal land border controls with and between Bulgaria and Romania, allowing them to join the Schengen area fully. That's right, decades of debate have finally been finished today. The decision was made during Thursday's Home Affairs Council under the Hungarian presidency, which is surprising because Hungary is so anti-European Union, but they've achieved what Sándor Pinter, Hungarian Minister for Home Affairs, described as a top priority. However, internal border controls will continue to be conducted at land borders between Romania and Bulgaria, and also Hungary and Romania, for a period of at least 6 months to mitigate potential changes in migratory patterns due to removal of internal borders. Bulgaria and Romania, EU members since 2007, have finally secured their full access to the Schengen area after years of opposition from several member states, notably Austria, which had long cited concerns over migration and irregular entries. Okay, Austria. Today's decision is a recognition of our years-long efforts and progress achieved, Romanian President Klaus Iohannis posted on Twitter, reflecting on the journey that began in 2011, when the European Commission first declared both countries ready to join. The Council did adopt a partial air-sea Schengen decision for the two nations in December of 2023, which took effect in March. Last month, Vienna lifted its long-standing veto, acknowledging the significant progress Bulgaria and Romania have made tackling irregular migration, finally clearing the way for their full ascension to the Schengen system. I would also argue that everyone's dealing with irregular migration, so you're kind of calling the kettle calling the pot black here. Hey, you guys have irregular migration, you can't be in the Schengen zone. Like, what about your irregular migration, dude? Wait a minute. Everyone is dealing with it because guess what? The world is ending. People don't want to be in their poor, war-torn countries when it does, okay? They want to be eating chocolate and sitting on their couch. Not
Right.
hiding in corners and going, I hope they don't bomb me. Nobody wants to do that. Despite this, the
Right.
decision comes as several member states, including Austria, Italy, Norway, Germany, France, and Poland, have reinstated border checks, challenging what Internal Affairs and Migration Commissioner Magnus Brunner calls the EU's most tangible achievement, which is the Schengen zone, removing all borders. I would love to live in a world like that, where you can just walk. Nobody will stop you, or I guess drive. And no one will stop you and say, where you come from? But, you know, as
Mm.
humanity, we have to work towards that goal. Humanity thing, not just one country can take the spearhead. In more positive news, I guess, LGBT veterans are receiving £70,000 for the mistreatment they incurred in the armed forces in the UK. The key there was pounds, because not only the UK uses that money, that currency. LGBT veterans have been acknowledged of the historic wrongs they experienced in the armed forces. The Ministry of Defense is expected to announce today on December 12th. Defense Secretary John Healey is also set to announce veterans will have their ranks restored and discharge reasons amended. Oh yeah, a lot of dishonorable discharges for being gay. What do they do? Oh, they're a great soldier. Unfortunately, they love their fellow man. That's not allowed. Under, I don't know, God. According to a leaked memo, a ban on lesbian, gay, and bisexual people served in the armed forces was lifted in 2000, way too late, while transgender people were officially allowed to openly serve in 2014. Why do we care who you're having sex with or what's in your pants? I think you should be happy people want to die, you know? Get
Right.
on an IED on the side of the road. I think that should be a... That's way braver than being gay, let me tell you.
When somebody's shooting at you, you don't think about that stuff.
No.
It's just you're protecting you and your troops, your friends,
Exactly.
your buddies,
And
your
also,
comrades.
there's been many studies done, and even historically supported, right? The reason why you should be allowed to love your fellow soldier, and even maybe romantically involved in them, is because you'll actually care about making sure your unit survives till the end of the war. Romans famously, I mean, this is the historical example. Romans were quite gay, and they had an empire that conquered most of Europe and a lot of Africa and Asia. So, I mean, if you love the guy standing next to you, you're actually going to fight better. That's what they found. And they also found that
Unless you
women,
get jealous easily, and then your emotions are confused.
They also found that
But
with
that's
women, if there's women in the group, the unit will fight better as well because. Yeah, I'm just you can
hard to
make
quantify
faces all
hard
you want.
fighting.
I am thinking to.
I'm just
study
saying. I
later.
mean, you're going to fight hard no matter who's there. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
I just say you're saying
But
there's so
I
many
guess the argument
variables.
here
There's
more
many
is
variables.
like people were saying if there's a woman in the squad, it will be detrimental. But the studies found that
As long as
it's
she
not
can do her job, it
detrimental.
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
As long as they can do her job, it doesn't matter. As I say,
agree.
there's plenty of men that can't do their job.
Yeah. Anyways, so these former LGBT military personnel who were dismissed and discharged because of their sexual orientation will reportedly receive £50,000, while additional payments of $20,000 will be handed to veteran serving personnel who were negatively impacted by the ban from 1967 to 2000 during their time in service. Wow, that's a lot.
So
of people. Everyone is straight out getting $50,000. For their career being ended abruptly or whatever.
Wow.
They fired you for no reason, in a way.
And the UK doesn't get in enough wars to kill them off, so they're still around.
And then, they're giving $20,000 additionally for, I guess, I don't know if it's every year that those persons were, like, if let's say you were in the army in '67 and you're still alive, are you getting $20,000 for every year that you were not able to serve? I'm not sure. Or maybe that $20,000 for every, like, let's say you were saying, oh, I signed up to serve for 5 years and you got kicked out in the second year. Maybe you get $20,000 for those 3 years that you weren't allowed to continue serving.
Wow.
Under the ban, serving members of the forces discovered to be LGBT were subject to brutal interrogation and dismissal. Some had faced lifelong consequences, including diminished career prospects, being vilified by family and friends, and no access to their military pensions. Wow. Now that's really fucked up. Just give them their pensions. The payments are expected to exempt from income tax and means tested benefits, ensuring veterans benefit the full amount available. That's right, they're not getting, 35 million or 35,000. They're actually getting the 50,000 that they are owed. As part of the redress scheme, the government is expected to increase the total amount available for payments to £75 million, significantly above the £50 million recommended in the Etherton review into the treatment of LGBT veterans. Veterans who were dismissed because of their sexual orientation or gender identity will also reportedly be able to have their rank restored and discharge reason amended, part of the scheme, which will be open for 2 years. So if it happened more recently, and I get back in, it is expected to prioritize the applications of terminally ill veterans. MPs are set to debate the next steps to make amendments today in the House of Commons. The Ministry of Defense spokeswoman told The Times, deeply regret the treatment of LGBT serving personnel between 1967 and 2000. Before that, fuck them. 1966, you deserved it. I'm just kidding. Which was wholly unacceptable and does not reflect today's armed forces. They are fully committed to ensuring the issues receive parliamentary scrutiny. They are delivering on all recommendations for the LGBT Veterans Review, with 38 of the 49 already implemented. We are working with experts across governments to establish an appropriate financial redress scheme and will provide more details very soon. The MOD has been contacted for comment but has not replied yet. There you go. Congratulations to all those people who were unfairly dismissed and discharged and, their ranks stripped for them for something that generally doesn't affect the military whatsoever. And on to your story.
1967 must have been when they made it legal.
Yeah,
they stopped being illegal to be gay in England. Yeah. That's probably what it is, right? It's like they sterilized people before that, so they're gonna have to go open that can of worms, right?
Yeah. Oh, right.
Famously, they sterilized the guy that broke the codes. Remember that? Yeah. What?
He broke the code.
Wasn't it? What was that machine? You'll think of it. Yeah, he's in that movie with
Benedict Cumberbatch.
What's his name? Benedict Cumberbatch. Yeah. Right. That's easy to remember, right? I can't think of the name of the. I know the name of it. It's right at the tip of my tongue. The machine.
World War II code breaker. Let me look it up real quick.
Yeah, you'll think of the name. You'll shout it out in the middle of my article. That's fine. Okay, so on to
Alan
we're
Turing.
gonna talk about the Bob
I got
Dylan.
It already. Alan Turing.
What's that?
Alan Turing.
No, I mean the name.
Emily castrated.
The name of the machine. The name of the machine that he.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, the one he deciphered.
Oh. I thought we were talking about the man.
Yeah.
The man was chemically castrated, so he just
Right.
To, and then
It might have happened in
'67.
'67.
Tragically.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would think it was like a couple years ago, actually, like 10 or 15 years ago. We apologize for doing that. That was pretty fucked up.
What's the name of the machine, though?
I don't know. I'm reading the art. You want me to read this whole article?
I don't know. You'll just shout it out like you got Tourette's.
Turinjury. I don't know.
No, it had a common name. Enigma. There you go. I knew it. It was easy to remember. Yeah, he solved that. All right, so on to my story about Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan's most famous album. One of his most famous albums. He's got 15 of them probably that are up there. But Blood on the Tracks was released in 1975, so the 50th anniversary is coming up. This is from Chris DeVille from StereoGum.com. Bob Dylan's catalog is too vast, varied, and accomplished to crown one album as the absolute best, but Blood on the Tracks is a strong candidate. The archetypal Breakup LP is so potent that when I was 19, the proprietor of my local independent record store refused to sell me a copy because I hadn't had my heart properly broken yet. When I finally listened a few years later, I kind of respected his stance. It's an album worth celebrating, and the latest celebration will take place next month with a stacked lineup of talented fans. The Bob Dylan Center has organized Shelter from the Storm, a Blood on the Tracks tribute concert taking place January 24th at Kane's Ballroom in Tulsa. Hey, that's where we saw Bob Dylan, in Tulsa. Not at Kane's Ballroom, but at a different place. That's kind of cool. Luke Wilson will MC the event, and list of performers is impressive. In alphabetical order: Laura Cantrell, Elvis Costello, Real Estate's Martin Courtney. The War on Drugs is Adam Godishell, Joy Harjo, Robin Hitchcock, Lonnie Hawley, Diane Krall, Paul Metza, Kevin Morby, Indigo Girls, Amy Ray, and the duo of Michael Shannon and Jason Narducci. Emma Swift, Shannon Van Elton, and Lucinda Williams. Lucinda Williams, a good old, constantly touring musician. The house band includes the Chatham County Line, esteemed indie roots rock brothers Brad and Phil Cook, Ben Folds 5, Darren Jesse, and Doug Heath, the event's co-author and music director. Is also on the bill are the Blood on the Tracks players, 3 guys who played on the album, Greg Inhofer, Kevin Odegaard, and Billy Peterson. Blood on the Tracks. Will Dolan be there himself? It's not clear. It should be an awesome show either way. Tickets go on sale to Bob Dylan Center members this Thursday, December 12th, and to the general public on the 13th. So Blood on the Tracks, one of the great albums of all time. You have, it was the end of his marriage kind of thing. It was every song had a double meaning kind of thing. And Blood on the Tracks has double meaning. Blood on the Tracks, of course, is what you look at when you're tracking a wounded animal, right? So the metaphor of that is you're a wounded animal, right? And somebody's after you. So there's a little bit of that in every track. And also Blood on the Tracks could also mean tracks on an album. And there's a little bloodshed on every track, right? So cool name for probably an album with no weak songs.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got Lily Rosemary and Jack of Hearts. You've got You're a Big Girl Now. You've got what we mentioned. Simple Twist of Fate is on there.
That's a good one.
Shelter from a Storm. Yep.
Well, I probably know all these
Tangled
songs.
Up in,
I just don't know the title.
Tangled Up in Blues. Tangled Up in Blue starts the album, right? You probably know Tangled Up in Blue. And there's quite a few others, but those are the ones I just know off the top of my head. And most of them, except Lily Rosemary and the Jack of Hearts, definitely is not about his marriage, but the rest of them are easily deciphered to be about his marriage breaking up. So,
yeah.
Other news today, Ocean World Ceres near Mars is full of organic matter that may support life. This is from Earth.com. 6 years after NASA's Dawn mission concluded its remarkable exploration of the asteroid belt's largest bodies, Ceres and Vesta, new findings continue to reshape our understanding of these celestial objects. While Vesta has faded from the spotlight, Ceres, a water-rich dwarf planet, remains the center of the scientific intrigue. Recent research led by Institute of Astrofísica de Andalucía has identified 11 previously unknown regions on Ceres, hinting at an internal reservoir of organic materials. In 2017, NASA's Dawn spacecraft detected organic compounds near the Emotet crater in Ceres' northern hemisphere, igniting debates over the origin. The prevailing hypothesis suggests an exogenous origin, where organic materials were delivered by impacts from organic-rich comets.
Yeah, that's the idea
or
of how
asteroids.
water got on Earth.
Right, it was trapped in rocks that smashed into our surface, and it was released by the intense heat.
There, and it became life.
The intense heat released steam that became clouds. However, the new study explores an alternative scenario that these organic materials form within Ceres itself and have been preserved in a subsurface reservoir that is shielded from solar radiation. The significance of this discovery lies in the fact that if these are endogenous materials, it would confirm that the existence of the internal energy sources that could support biological processes, explains Juan Luis Rizos, lead author and research at the AICSIC. That's that big long name I gave earlier.
Yeah.
With a diameter of over 930 kilometers, acting up, Ceres is a fascinating dwarf planet nestled in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, and is the most water-rich body in the inner solar system after Earth. Discovered way back in 1801 by Giuseppe Piazza, Ceres was the first asteroid to be identified and later reclassified as a dwarf planet in 2006. While we were reclassifying Pluto as a dwarf planet in 2006, we said, hey, Ceres is basically the same size. Anyway, the possibility has scientists buzzing because it raises questions about whether Ceres could support some of the life, at least have the right ingredients for it. As a dwarf planet, it bridges the gap between smaller asteroids and fully fledged planets, showcasing characteristics of both. Its abundance of water, ice, and potentially liquid water beneath the surface place it among the solar system's ocean worlds and make it a tantalizing target for astrological research. Additionally, Ceres' composition links it to carbonicaceous chondrites, a type of meteorite that is rich in carbon compounds. Big old meteorite that's full of carbon, and carbon equals life.
A big
usually.
Old meteorite.
Yeah. Such meteorites are considered relics of the material and formed the solar system 4.6 billion years ago. The study employed a unique approach to analyze Ceres' surface and organic material distribution. Using special mixture analysis, SMA, the researchers characterized compounds near the Emutet crater. They used high-resolution spatial images from Dawn's framing camera to systematically scan the entire surface. The dual approach enabled to identification of 11 new regions potentially rich in organic compounds. Many of those areas are near the equatorial region where prolonged solar radiation exposure has degraded organic materials. Despite this degradation, high-resolution spectral analysis using Dawn's VIR imaging spectrometer confirmed the presence of organic compounds, particularly in a region between Urvara and Yalod basins. Oh, I was going to go there on vacation this year. That's cool.
Really?
Here are the organic. Oh yeah, right there in the. That was a joke. Of course. Here, the organic materials appear within geological features formed by impacts, suggesting they originated from deeper subsurface layers. These impacts were the most violent Ceres has experienced, so the material must originate from deeper regions than the material ejected from other basins or craters. Clarifies Rizos. If the presence of organics is confirmed, the origin leaves little doubt that these compounds are endogenous materials. Endogenous, of course, means they originated from that planet. They didn't come flying in from outer space. These findings align with a related study by Italian collaborators who demonstrated that organic compounds degrade more rapidly under solar radiation than previously estimated. The observed quantities and degradation levels suggest that vast reservoirs of organic material likely exist between the surface of Ceres. The idea of organic reservoir in such a remote and seemingly inert location like Ceres raises the possibility that similar conditions could exist in other solar systems' bodies. Rizos concludes, without a doubt, Ceres will be revisited by new probes in the near future, and our research will be key in defining the observational strategy of those missions. What is next for Ceres? The researchers continue to unravel mysteries of Ceres, its significance in planetary science, and space exploration grows as space exploration grows. I'm having trouble talking now. The potential presence of internal organic reservoirs not only sheds light on dwarf planets' geologic and chemical evolution, but also enhances its appeal as a target for future missions. So if you wanted to get water, say for a space mission, you could just pop by in Ceres, even though you probably couldn't live there because there's no gravity or whatever. But, just get some water. I don't know. With its unique characteristics and an abundant resources, Ceres stands as a key destination in humanity's journey to understand the solar system's past and secure its future in space exploration. Ceres will play a key role in future space exploration. Its water, present as ice and possibly as liquid beneath the surface, makes it an intriguing location for resource exploration, predicts Rizos. In the context of space colonization, Ceres could serve as a stopover or a resource base for future missions to Mars or beyond. Okay, if your goal is just to go to Mars, just stop right there. There's no point in going to Mars. Just stop it. You've made it to Ceres, now go someplace else. Come on, man.
I mean, there's like a whole entire TV show about this. It's called The Expanse. I recommend to anybody who likes the idea of like us actually colonizing the solar system. And in this show, they do try to colonize Mars, and Mars and Earth actually get into a fight against each other because all the smart people end up going to Mars to try to make it livable. Right. But towards the end of the show, they realize that there's no point. They find wormholes that send them to planets that do support life. And then everyone just gives up on Mars ever being. They're like, why are we working so hard to make Mars livable when we can just take a wormhole and go to a planet that's already livable? If that's what we want, right? If we want livable planets, there's a bunch out there. Why the fuck are we wasting our time here? And that's kind of what happens. And also, there are people living on Ceres, and they do end up building like a little outpost on Ceres, but.
Right. You can live possibly in a planet, but you got to protect yourself from ultraviolet, ultraviolet for sure, but also gamma rays, which will kill you. And Mars has no magnetic field, or weak magnetic field. So you would have to live inside of it. You'd have to live underground. Anyway, all these features make Ceres a key player in understanding of the early solar system and potential for habitable environments and beyond Earth. That was the end of the article, so that was my last sentence.
Hey, I love habitable environments. Those are nice.
Yeah, definitely. Better to live in one of those instead of like on the sun, for instance. Okay.
All right. Also, Sarah is back. I forgot to tell you. Sarah is back in chat there. From
Welcome
Australia.
back, Sarah. Welcome back. Bring your friends. Tell your friends.
And of course, Amlin is here as well.
And then make new friends and tell them.
Let's go ahead and go to our next article, which is about Glasgow's drug consumption rooms. It's a story I've talked about, I don't know. I feel like it was a year ago when this first came up. They like the law. Sarah said, will do. You should open the chat on... You don't you watch the stream?
I'm usually too busy looking stuff up.
Oh, okay. That's fair. Anyways... Glasgow was, I think, last year trying to pass a law so that they could have these drug consumption rooms, so people could have a place to safely do drugs and maybe open up a path for getting rid of their addiction or getting out of the addictive cycle and not dying under a road somewhere or a bridge somewhere. So the UK's first drug consumption room. This is from the Herald Scotland by Katrin Boosie. UK's first drug consumption room may not open until next year after delays. The facility in the east end of Glasgow was due to open to drug users in October, allowing them to take illegal substances under medical supervision. But Councillor Alan Casey, the convener for addiction services at Glasgow City Council, said final checks to water and ventilation systems in the building mean it may not open until 2025. Speaking on BBC Radio Scotland's Good Morning Scotland program on yesterday, today, on the 12th, because it's already been morning in the UK. We're probably weeks away. It'll be around the tail end of this year, or the very start of next year, he said. But there's been some issues in terms of... I can't do a Glasgow accent, don't tell me. I know he doesn't sound like this, but some issues in terms of connecting the water supply.
You're Scotty from Star Trek.
Yeah, exactly. But the building has now been handed over to NHS Greater Glasgow and Clyde's Infection Control Team, which is testing the water supply and ventilation. As if we know anything about me, I've been following the UK water scandal, which is all of the private water companies just poisoning everybody and putting sewage in the water because they don't want to invest extra money to improve their infrastructure. They'd rather just... so you get some cholera once in a while. What's the big deal? So, but they want to make sure that the people who are, taking heroin aren't also dealing with this kind of problem. He insisted, nobody is more frustrated than myself, and the staff are all the staff are all recruited, are ready to go. The building is to all intents and purposes complete. Just want to get open and provide the services. We can't cut any corners. We need to make sure that this is done properly, because there's some scrutiny on this building and the service that it provided. It is the first in the UK. We must get it right for everybody, for its opening. Yeah, imagine new drug consumption room opens. Everyone suffocates to death. That would not be a good headline. If we were to cut corners, I think we'd be accused of putting people at risk as well. I think that is not in any way acceptable. We need to make sure we do this properly. That is the safe for everybody to use. Mr. Casey said there would be a satisfactory test result, with further results due next week, meaning we're only a matter of weeks away from being able to give a definitive date for the service starting. While the ideas of a drug consumption room were first proposed in 2017 following an HIV outbreak in Glasgow, its developments was embroiled in years of political wrangling between the Scottish and UK governments. Nothing ever changes. You can't do that! Fuck you, this is Scotland. You know, it doesn't even affect you. But in 2023, Scotland's most senior law officer, Lord Advocate Dorothy Bain Casey, announced it would not be in the public interest to prosecute people using such a facility. The pilot project in Hunter Street is in the same building as a current drug treatment facility and was approved by the Glasgow City Integration Joint Board in September 2023. Yeah, see, that's exactly what I thought. We talked about it like almost over a year ago when they approved it.
Uh-huh.
We're actually in, we were in probably like Paris or something, or Germany when this happened as well.
Yeah, I think so.
Let's be honest here.
I heard 20-minute shows back then.
Yeah, we have been waiting for 10 years to open this facility. There's been red tape around that from the UK government and from the Home Office. So another couple of weeks where we test the water, make sure it's safe, and I think something we can cope with. It's been red tape for over a decade now, and we've been fighting to get this open. We want to do it right. We don't want to cut any corners and cause any further issues, or cause the building and then have to close at some point in the future. That would not be in anybody's interest. So congratulations, Glasgow. Congratulations, the Scottish government, for fighting the UK government, which likes to put its nose in things that don't affect it and are probably better for everyone. I mean, of course, that was the Conservative government. So they've, for 20 years been basically austerity measures the entire country. And that's why there's a bunch of people suffering in England specifically because...
austerity
Sorry?
Austerity is basically rich people telling poor people, you have to suffer. Yep.
You're making my life more difficult. You should die, and then I don't have to worry about you anymore. But that's the problem with England, because England's kind of council is also in London, so they're all full of all that austerity happening, and really puts them in a bad place and sucks. And Scotland, and I think also Northern Ireland, and are lucky enough to have their own council that can make decisions for their region, like opening this drug consumption room. See that, and probably see a little update on that next year. It finally opens and everyone rejoiced! Yay! And
there was much rejoicing.
Yeah, and there was much rejoicing. So let's go to your story, or I guess your list.
Viva la revolution! That's what I say.
Yeah.
Let's take down them rich people. They all suck. Not all of them. I'm just saying the super rich, not the. If you got, you're rich, fine. Enjoy your shit. I'm just talking about the people that have too much damn money and think they can control us.
Yeah.
Tell us what to do. Screw them.
Because I have money, I know better than you. And it's like, no, that is not how that works.
No. I'm not impressed with rich people. I don't care if you got money. You shit like I do. You wipe your ass like I do. You ain't better. Anyway. Just letting you know, shitbags, I am not impressed by money. If you tell me you make more money from me, doesn't impress me. Unless you're going to share it with me, I don't give a shit. All right. On to our Thursday 13, which I still didn't accidentally close. Good. Okay. So this is an article because I've become lazy in my old age. Well, I've always been lazy, but I don't have my dry erase boards.
Work smart, not hard. That's what they say.
Yeah, right. So you're gonna have to use your imagination.
Visualize it yourself. Yeah.
Maybe I could put pictures of these various condiments here. This is from an article from experiencelife.lifetime.life. Wow.
They are very dedicated to living.
Life and everything. Okay, hello. I didn't know .life existed as a whatever they call it at the end of it. Anyway, 13 global condiments to use. This is by Camille Berry. Odds are you have a bottle of soy sauce or sriracha in your pantry, maybe a jar of tahini tucked away in the fridge, if you know what tahini is. But there's a whole glorious world of sauces and seasonings beyond these familiar staples just waiting to be discovered. Supplementing your pantry with condiments from different regions makes it easy to perk up the stale recipes. Yeah, if you want to, this is perfectly timed for Christmas, by the way, because you want people to experiment with new food at Christmas instead of just your old, bland, dull, ordinary food, I would think. That's just me. Let's have the same thing every year. Nah.
Yeah, no way.
So the next time you're grocery shopping, consider picking up one of these culinary gems. And by the way, did you know 13 was actually a sacred number to very many American Indian tribes? Interesting.
Yeah.
That's what I heard. Anyway, the next time you're grocery, okay, there are a myriad of online specialty sites that offer treasure troves of ingredients. Anyway, you can make these or you can buy them, or either way. Here we go. This first one in alphabetical order, not in order of preference or anything. Achar, A-C-H-A-R, a kind of South Asian pickle. Achar is made from fermenting vegetables and fruits with spices and oil. Lime, mango, lotus stem, and chilies are all common ingredients, but the mixture varies depending on the region and what's in season. The most basic way to enjoy achar is heaped over rice, but it goes with virtually everything. Try spooning it into a dal, D-A-L. I don't know what that is. I'm not a foodie. Try spooning it into a dal and to give lentils a tangy flavor. So dal must be a lentil soup, I'm guessing. Our number 2 is black vinegar. Viscous and flavorful, the malty, although also known as malt vinegar, which is put on your chips in England. Viscous and flavorful with malty, earthy notes, this Chinese vinegar, also called Chengqiang vinegar, offers much more than a pop of acidity. Jason Wang, owner of New York's Jian Famous Foods, writes in his cookbook of the same name that black vinegar provides a tangy, rich kick so ingrained in our cooking, so deified, artisans were trained to make it specifically for the imperial court during the Zhou dynasty. Add a teaspoon to your noodles or salad dressing for a sweet, sour complexity. Of course, malt vinegar, again, is big in French fries. But it doesn't mention that because it's a different type of malt vinegar.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Chaat masala. Chaat is spelled C-H-A-A-T. Masala. Masala. This spice blends the standard garnish for chaat and an umbrella term for savory snacks enjoyed across South Asia. Sprinkle it over roasted vegetables or fruit salads for a sour kick and add it to soups and stews for a layer of complex spice. A layer of complex spice where your tongue goes, ooh, what's in that? And number 4, condiment, is called chamoy. C-H-A-M-O-Y. Chamoy. The sweet, savory sauce is traditionally made with ube fruit, but modern versions often include mango, tamarind, and other sour fruits. Well, we love it. We love some tamarind. They love it. They love that in Mexico, the tamarind. And other sour fruits. It is used to marinate chicken and ribs and enjoy the way generations of Mexicans have, drizzled over mangoes, apples, and cucumber, or generously poured over shaved ice. Yep, the tamarind. I did not, until I moved to the Southwest, I never tasted tamarind before, but it's very popular. Chili crisp is your number 5 spice. I think it's 5. I think I'm counting wrong, but whatever. 1, 2, 3. Number 5. That's right. Number 5. Gotta shout these out. Number 5. Chili crisp. Garlicky and peppery with layers of warm spices. Chinese chili crisp gets its texture from fried onions and garlic and typically includes roasted nuts for added punch. Added crunch and punch. Packed with flavor but not too fiery, chili crisp is perfect for spooning over noodles, dumplings, and even fried eggs. Is there anything that isn't enhanced with a dab of chili crisp? You be the judge. Number 6. Dukkha. Or dukkha. D-U-K-K-A-H. I think it might be dukkha. A flavorful Egyptian condiment, dukkha, also dukkha, D-U-Q-Q-A, is a crafted, I guess it must be, I don't know. I have no idea how to pronounce it. I pronounce it 4 different ways now. It is crafted from a fragrant blend of nuts, seeds, and toasted spices, as well as many other spice blends. Recipes vary, but coriander, cumin, and sesame seeds, plus hazelnuts and peanuts are all common ingredients. Yeah, that sounds good for chili. Sprinkle it over hummus or yogurt dips to add satisfying crunch. Use it as a dry rub or sprinkle it on your avocado toast. If you make duck at home, follow Chef Yutam Ottolenghi's advice and be sure not to burn the seeds, removing them from the heat as soon as they begin to pop. Also not to process them much with mortar and pestle so to keep their texture. Number 7, fish sauce. If you ever had pad hot.
So good.
You don't like it? Oh, okay. You like it. Okay.
I love it, yeah.
If you ever had pad thai, you've already acquainted with fish sauce. It's made from fermented fish and has a unique, salty, savory, and yes, fishy taste. Try a teaspoon or 2 of fish sauce in sauces, dressings, and marinades for a hit of funky flavor. Of course, fish sauce is one of your main ingredients in Worcestershire sauce, or Worcestershire sauce, or however you pronounce it. As my cousin calls it, whisker sauce. Number 8, furikake. Furikake, Japanese umami rich, dry seasoning. Umami rich. Dry seasoning crafted from a blend of seaweed, sesame seeds, and dried fish. We love our fish. Furikake is typically sprinkled over rice. It can also add flavor and satisfying crunch to salads, and punch. I keep saying punch instead of crunch. I'm insane. Soups, roasted potatoes, and even a bowl of popcorn. Yeah, sprinkle it on your popcorn. I've seen somebody putting pepperoni grease in their popcorn. Made it taste like pizza, they said. Instead of butter, pepperoni grease. Yeah. There's your 14th one there, pepperoni grease. Our next one, which I think is number 9, harissa. Take note, spice friends, harissa will set your taste buds alight. The hot Tunisian red chili paste is a blend of roasted red peppers, bacoloti peppers, and garlic mixed with fragrant assortment of spices and herbs. Also, a dab of burgers. Use a dab on burgers or in sandwiches. Toss it in with your roasted veggies or swirl it into sauces and dips to add a fiery kick. Make those steak skewers with harissa for your next dinner. Number 11, I think this is. Let's see. We're getting towards the end. This might be number... this is number 10, sorry. Number 10 is miso paste. This salty, earthy condiment.
These are all good. I'm a condiments person. Like, I'm very picky with condiments. I'm not picky with any other food. Yeah. You can put anything in my mouth, right? But this list is very good because these are like actually condiments that are good, you know?
You're getting hungry.
Yeah.
To make you hungry. So you just go out and just eat. Anyway, miso paste, this salty earth condiment, has so many uses. It's no wonder it's one of the cornerstones of Japanese cuisine. Miso is made by fermenting soybeans with salt and koji, a mold used for making everything from sake to soy sauce. Mix it with marinades and stir it into vegetarian dishes to infuse them with a savory flavor. Add it to cookie dough or brownie batter for an unexpected explosion of umami. If you've ever tried miso, start with shiro or white variety. It's sweet, mild flavor, offers the ideal introduction. All right. In number 11, pomegranate molasses. This concentrated sweet tart condiment appears in both sweet and savory Middle Eastern dishes. It is brilliant for glazing meats, whisking into salad dressing, and use it in place of molasses in your favorite baking recipes to give them a tantalizing taste of pomegranate. Try it out with a recipe for pomegranate peach barbecue sauce. Pomegranate peach barbecue sauce. Man, I'm getting hungry now. Number 12, Sichuan peppercorns. Sichuan is a region of China, which I probably said wrong. Peppercorns are unique in the spice world. As Wang writes, white Sichuan peppercorns don't have the capsaicin like spicy peppers. They do include another compound that triggers a vibrating, intense tingle. That tingle tingle. That tingle is a numbing sensation that brings out the flavors and other ingredients. Toast the peppercorns, then grind some over a spicy stew or zingy marinade to elevate the dish to a whole new level. And last but not least is, starts with a Z, that's why it's last, Za'atar. Za'atar. If there's one smell to match the emblematic image of the old city of Jerusalem, one odor that encapsulates the soul of the ancient city nestled in the Judean mountains, it's a smell of Za'atar, writes Otto Lenge in his cookbook of Jerusalem. Numerous versions of Za'atar exist, but this herb and spice blend typically includes oregano, wild thyme, marjoram, sesame seeds, and sumac.
Wow, that's a lot of ingredients.
Common throughout the Middle East, Za'atar is also used across North Africa and brings an earthy yet citrusy flavor to roasted and grilled fare, dips, and flatbread. This article originally appeared in Culinary Gems from Around the World in June of 2022. And 2 years old, but hey, food is always food. So there's your 30 list for today. Thursday's 13. Back to you.
Okay, well I definitely recommend a lot of those things on those lists.
And I have posted you a video.
Yeah, I already got it, and I've already posted it in. I recommend those condiments if you want your food to get a little kick, little flavor in your life. No, you don't just have to salt everything.
That's right. Ketchup, mustard, mayonnaise.
I like a nice Dijon mustard myself. Nice horseradish. All right, let's talk about our culture segment here, which is archaeologists discovering what they think might be the tomb of Saint Nicholas, patron saint of children and prostitutes, and of course Christmas. This is from Euronews by Amber Louise Bryce. Archaeologists have discovered what they believe to be the tomb of Saint Nicholas, the philanthropic Greek bishop and inspiration behind the Christmas icon Santa Claus. The 6-foot-long limestone sarcophagus was found buried 6 feet deep within the 2-story annex of St. Nicholas Church in Demir, Antalya, Turkey. Wait, you're telling me they never looked in his church for him? You think he was buried in the church?
Wow.
Nah, he's not. He's probably buried somewhere else. Let's not check.
That's great.
I guess they couldn't find the actual tomb. They're like, oh, he's buried somewhere in the walls. I don't know. Long considered the final resting place of the saint, excavations have been underway since 1989, but this latest find is the most intriguing yet. The project was led by Ebru Fatma Findik, an associate professor at Fateh Kemal University, as part of the Legacy for the Future project. In fact, we have found a sarcophagus near the church, which is thought to have housed his tomb, may indicate that this is indeed the sacred area we have been searching for, Findik said. This is a significant archaeological confirmation of historical sources regarding the burial place of Saint Nicholas. While its location lends credibility to the tomb belonging to St. Nicholas, the research team are now hoping to find an inscription that might reveal more details about who was inside. Speaking to Turkey Today, Findik said, "Our best hope is to find an inscription on the sarcophagus. This would help to clarify the burial's contents and allow us to determine the exact period it dates from. So far, only the tomb's lid has been completely uncovered, a small section of the burial chamber visible. Teams are planning further excavations in the coming months to find more clues." So who was St. Nicholas, the real St. Nicholas? Born sometime after 260 AD in Mira, now the Demre district of Antalya, Turkey, St. Nicholas was an early Christian bishop and patron saint of children and sailors, became idolized for kindness and generosity, tells of him giving money to those less fortunate, leading themselves to legends of miracles and work. Over time, grievances for the holy figure evolved into the creation of Santa Claus, the jolly bearded present giver and symbol of Western Christmas celebrations. But I thought Turkey wasn't part of Europe. That's what the EU keeps arguing anyways.
No.
The name Santa Claus came from the Dutch nickname for St. Nicholas, Sinterklaas. Aha! Which we just talked about last week, Still, very little is actually known about the real Saint Nicholas, except that he was buried in a church named after him following his death around 343 AD. His actual body whereabouts have always remained a mystery. However, thoughts have been stolen in 1087 and smuggled in the Basilica di San Nicola in Bari, Italy. Why are people smuggling bodies and replanting them? Just leave them alone. While scientific studies have been carried out on these bones, the evidence that they actually belong to St. Nicholas remain inconclusive. I mean, how do you know? You have to carbon date it to like 343 AD, I guess. And then you're like, well, it's definitely a guy who died in the, 4th century. That's all I got for you guys. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure you can prove who a dead person is. You can just say, it could be him, it could not be him. Because you can't really do much with bones that old. Like, super old.
DNA's.
Yeah.
DNA's
There's no
degraded.
DNA where you're like, I'm a descendant of Saint
There's
Nicholas.
DNA. Yeah, it's like, who are you going to compare it to, right?
No, nobody. That's for anybody who doesn't know how DNA science works. Is the reason you know somebody's related to you is because you look at them together and you say, wow, they're very similar. There's some differences because obviously I'm not just my dad or just my mom. I'm two people. But there's enough congruency, like I think it has to be really high, like 90 or 89 or something like that. And they're like, you're definitely related. And then as you get slower down or spread out the tree, right, it gets less and less similar. I think you can still genetically identify, I think 4th or 5th cousins, something. You can go pretty far outward. Or it's like you guys are barely related anymore.
It'll get better. This science will get better over time,
for sure.
Yeah.
But here's your short and sweet Christmas themed article about St. Nicholas's body may be found, and maybe we can clone him, and then he can say, "Stop being idiots," and then everyone will listen to him.
And they'll bring us all toys.
Exactly. That's the story. On to yours.
All right. This day in history. I don't have a story. I just got history. This is from Britannica.com, whose favorite thing is telling us about serial killers, but not today. 1821, novelist Gustave Flaubert, a leading figure in a realist school of French literature, was born, best known for his masterpiece, Madame Bovary. In 1846, New Grenada, now Colombia and Panama, signed the Bildlack Treaty with the United States, granting U.S. right-of-way across the Isthmus of Panama in exchange for a guarantee of neutrality for the Isthmus and the sovereignty of New Grenada. Of course, a few years later, we decided that, hey, that part of Colombia is now Panama, and we're going to build a canal there. Anyway.
It's the thinnest part. Let's do it.
That's right. And they're still there to this day, the Panama Canal Zone. Which, again, Panama was a country created out of the United States wanting to have that piece of land for the canal. And they said, Colombia, this is now called Panama. It's the birthday of Frank Sinatra today. American popular singer Frank Sinatra achieved wide success as a film actor. Was born in Hoboken, New Jersey. Hoboken's a nice little town, man. It's right on the, I think it's the East River. Right across the river from New York City. 1923, American game show host Bob Barker was born. So happy 101st birthday to Bob Barker, who is no longer with us. He was best known as hosting The Price is Right from 1972 to 2007. 1936, Chinese national leader Chiang Kai-shek was seized by one of his own generals, Chiang Kai-shek, beginning the Xi'an incident, which is, of course, Chiang Kai-shek was the first leader of what we call Taiwan after he left mainland China. 1964, Kenya became the Kenya became a republic on the first anniversary of its independence from Britain. Congratulations, Kenya. So, again, the idiots who doctored up that fake birth certificate for President Obama. Look, it shows here he was born in Kenya in 1960. Like, Kenya wasn't a place in 1960. It wasn't a place till 1964, morons. You faked it. Which just should have destroyed any credibility that Donald Trump had for the rest of his life. But unfortunately, America's full of idiots. 1977, the music drama Saturday Night Fever starring John Travolta had its world premiere. The film was a huge hit, and as was the accompanying disco soundtrack by the Bee Gees, which it wasn't just the Bee Gees, by the way. The Bee Gees had 4 songs on this track. They keep the Bee Gees. It's not a Bee Gees album. It's a soundtrack to a movie. There's songs in there by the Tramps, by Yvonne Elliman. Now, I'm sure Barry Gibb wrote most of the songs because that's what he did. But yeah, it was not just a Bee Gees album. 1999, American author Joseph Heller, the author of Catch-22, died at the age of 76. Catch-22, one of the most significant works of protest literature to appear after World War II. Of course, Catch-22 entered our lexicon that very day. That was published. Catch-22 is one of the things where you can't do this until you do that. But that second thing you got to do it before the first thing somehow. Otherwise, you can't do the first thing. That's a Catch-22, simply explained. 2009, the victory of Democratic politician Anise Parker. Houston became the then largest city in the United States to elect an openly gay mayor. 2015, a landmark climate change agreement was reached in the UN conference in Paris, and 195 countries agreed to limit greenhouse gas emissions. The accord effectively replaced the Kyoto Protocol. In 2020, English writer Jean Le Carré died at the age of 89. He was best known for suspenseful, realistic spy novels. Well, it makes me want to read a spy novel now. Our featured event. 2000. Year 2000, the U.S. Supreme Court decided that your votes don't mean shit. On this day in 2000, the U.S. Supreme Court effectively awarded the presidency to George W. Bush, ruling that a fair recount of ballots in Florida could not be performed by the deadline for certifying the state electors. Yeah, complete horse shit. They told Florida, stop counting votes. I know you're doing a recount, but let's stop it right there for where it is at this point in time when Bush is still ahead. And let's stop counting because then it's going to hurt George Bush. Even though George Bush lost the popular vote, he got awarded the presidency. To me, that should just tell you, okay, he didn't win the popular vote, so therefore he should be president. Hey, more people want the other guy. But like I said, America's full of morons, and there's no hope for this country. We have totally sunk ourselves. We are hopeless. We are doomed. Sorry, that's just the way it is. I might not be around to see it, but it's just going to get worse, folks. We're not going to get better. We're just going to get descend into stupidity even worse. And if you think Idiocracy wasn't a documentary, well, go watch Idiocracy. Go watch that movie. It perfectly describes this country. Perfectly. We're already there. We're already there. The flat earthers are all over the place. The people that think we faked the moon landing. The people think that, the chemtrails in the sky. Those people. Those are the ones that are just have no science, have no argument, but people listen to them. Anyway, our featured biography, Edvard Munch. You may not know who he is, but you know his painting, The Scream. That's right. A very famous meme painting. It's one of the more meme-ish paintings in meme land. Edvard Munch. Edvard Munch, born December 12th, 18. And his name is Edvard. So if you took Edvard in, you automatically get him, because there's no other Edvard that ever got famous. Born December 12th, 1863 in Loten, Norway. Died January 23rd, 1944 at the age of 80 in Oslo. Other famous birthdays today. Edward G. Robinson, American actor, born in 1893. He always played a heavy or a cop, I think. Frank Sinatra we covered. Bob Barker we covered. Portia Simpson Miller, Prime Minister of Jamaica. 1945 was her birthday. And Rajinikanth, Indian actor, born in 1950. And what days is it today? Besides Gingerbread House Day, it is National Poinsettia Day. So we're all getting into the Christmas spirit with all these Christmas confections and decorations. So we got Gingerbread House Day, Poinsettia Day, National Ambrosia Day. That's another one of those things that people bring to your potluck party. You know, ambrosia is that fruit salad with whipped cream and coconuts and
just everything.
maraschino cherries
Good.
and bits of mandarin orange and grapes, and just makes your mouth water thinking about it. It's also National Ding-a-ling Day, and there's a picture of Santa Claus here, so I guess it's the day we call Santa Claus instead of writing him. But I could delve deeper into National Ding-a-ling Day if you want. I am a ding-a-ling, so. National Ding-a-ling Day on December 12th encourages us to reconnect we once talked too often. No, it's not about Santa Claus. Ding-a-lings on this day call people they haven't heard from in a while. It may be an old classmate, co-worker, neighbor from years ago, or just some person who owes you money. No, I added that. Anyway, so call that person you haven't talked to in 10 years, says they owe you money, and say, hey, how you doing? Got a job yet? No, just that's just me being sarcastic. So there's your days, there's your everything for December 12th. 24 on Before Gingerbread Houses and Ambrosia. Before Ambrosia, let's do that. Before Ambrosia. Back to you.
Sounds good. All right. It's also International UN whatever Day of Neutrality. That's right. Today celebrate your ability to not pick sides and force people to kill each other because of it. It's the International Day of Neutrality. What does it actually say here? I accidentally opened the law and I opened a PDF file where I can read the inscription. I didn't want to read that. Okay. Neutrality defined as the legal status arising from the abstention of a state from all participants in a war between other states, the maintenance of an attitude and partiality towards belligerents, and the recognition by the belligerents of this abstention and partiality. It is critically important to the United Nations to gain and maintain the confidence and cooperation of all in order to operate independently and effectively, especially in situations that are politically charged. So that's kind of UN's charter, Article 2 of UN's charter, that they are trying to stay neutral. They can't choose sides, but of course they have to choose sides when it comes to something like Russia, who wants to get rid of them. But let's see how long that lasts, really. And it's also International Universal Health Coverage Day. So that's all about making sure that everyone has health coverage, even if it's the lowest form of national health care to the highest privatization. Everyone all over the planet deserves to be taken care of, given medicine, given anything they need to survive. So celebrate healthcare and those who provide it on December 12th. This has been Allison here from the Netherlands and Rod from the West Coast of the United States, as we've covered another variety of different news stories for today. And make sure you try some of those condiments. You know, you can make them. He gave you the ingredients. You know, if you heard one you liked, I want to try that first one, honestly. The mango and mint leaves, and I can't remember what it was called.
And I left out things like chutney too, right?
Yeah,
it's
chutneys are good as well.
It wasn't on the list. Yeah.
Chutneys are good as well. And don't forget to subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Turn on that notification bell. Comment down below which recipe condiment you're going to try. And don't forget to like the video. We'll see you tomorrow for the Friday news dump. So you won't have to worry about any news over the weekend. We'll cover it all for you before that happens. And here is the mic drop moment.
Yep, the painting that captures the
screaming.
Edvard Munch's The Scream is one of the most iconic images in art history.
Perfectly.
It has been analyzed, reproduced, referenced, interpreted, and commercialized more often than perhaps any picture other than Leonardo da Vinci's Mona Lisa. In May 2012, when the last example of this work left in private hands was offered at Sotheby's, it captured the world's attention.
It was sold for $120 million.
Munch conceived of The Scream as a part of an epic series known as The Frieze of Life, which explored the progression of modern emotional life through themes of love, anxiety, and death. The scream was singled out as the most
it kind of looks like
powerful
he drew with
composition,
crayons.
and it quickly transcended its original context.
The lines, just
Munch
one continuous
turned the
line.
head of the subject to confront the viewer. The figure has been stripped of every civilizing feature. It is sexually ambiguous, visually amorphous, and almost dehumanized.
Just human. That's what it is.
It began in 1892 as a prose poem in which Munch describes an epiphany he had while in the hills above Oslo. He wrote, "I was walking along the road with two friends. The sun was setting. The sky turned a bloody red, and I felt a whiff of melancholy. I stood still, deathly tired.
He
Over
writes
the
well,
blue-black
too.
field
Had a
and
panic
city
attack.
hung blood and tongues of fire. My friends walked on. I remained behind, shivering with anxiety. I felt
good
the scream
writing.
in nature." Edvard Munch. The scream doesn't emanate
maybe
from the
it is
figure,
the
as one might initially think.
artistic
Instead,
manifestation
the
of
figure
having
is
a panic
blocking
attack.
out the harrowing scream of nature. With this, Munch gives expression to an experience.
The
a
swirling
feeling
lines,
that's
really. They're
captured
not
in the
straight, they're
definition of
swirling.
Expressionism. The movement for which this picture would become an icon. Of the picture, he later wrote, "You know my picture, the scream? I was being stretched to the limit. Nature was screaming in my blood. I was at breaking point. You know, I felt it all.
100%. That sounds 100% like
Executed on the cusp of the most violent
reaching the
century in
limit.
history, the scream turned out to be remarkably prescient. After the terrors of
Speaking
World War
as
II and
somebody
the
who was always on the verge of a
the horror
panic
of the
attack,
picture and bodies was
concur.
intensified, and the scream became the defining image of existentialism.
I mean,
Since
some
its
people hold
creation,
in their
the scream
emotions
has
so
been
long that
appropriated for
screaming is the
cartoons,
only thing
political
they can do.
campaigns, and other fine arts.
They reach their breaking point and they just
Healthy.
scream.
1895.
In Sotheby's Impressionist and Modern Art Evening Sale in May 2012, the Scream sold for nearly $120 million after a nearly 15
And who
minutes
got the
bidding
money?
battle between 7 bidders.
Family?
It was the most expensive artwork ever sold at auction at the time
Whoever
of sale.
the
The Scream is the
original
ultimate
owner, I guess.
portrait.
I don't know.
The portrait
I think
of
it's
a
just
human
a
soul.
Hopefully, it went to a
money
good
laundering
cause. Yeah,
Great art, though. Great art. Money laundering aside.
right. Yeah. Rich people's toys aside, it still doesn't. You can still look at it. You don't need the original to look at it. That's the best part. Yeah.
It's the emotions behind it that matter.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.